I'll review what we have so far, but basically what we have right now is, like I said last week, is the bare bones kind of admin layer, and I'll be able to show you a little bit as well of the intermediate client layer as well. But right now we're going to focus on legacy content. So as part of the import process here, we've got a little review that we've created for everybody. And so what it looks like when you first come in, we've got 35 articles that have been imported so far that we've been testing with. And when you click on any one of these, you get what we've been able to parse from the HTML. So down here, we've got all the blocks of content that we've identified, and then the system will try to do its best to guess, based on some of these class names that come through, what these little pieces of content are actually what they are to us. So to us, this is the actual headline, and I can decide to switch that if it's incorrect, or if it hasn't been guessed at all, I can help the import out by choosing which one I think that belongs to. So right here, you can see there's a couple things that we're not going to import. We already have the part number from the actual name of the file, so that doesn't need to be imported. And things, other text like this is the type of article that it was, we're not mapping that anymore, so that's not going to get imported. And then this is actually the image caption. So there is there's not a chunk for that since that's stored alongside the image. But what we do have is we have headline, we have subhead, we found a teaser, and we've got a bunch of blocks that are main content blocks. So this is going through the content paragraph by paragraph or chunk by chunk. When this is imported, all of these main content chunks will be put together into one in this order. So we'll maintain the order that they appeared in, and they'll be joined all together into one chunk when you finally get it into the system. You'll see there's a bunch of those, and this is basically paragraph, and then that's a headline, and this paragraph, that's a headline. That's why they're all separate chunks. Down here at the bottom, we started to find the call to action, which is in two parts, probably because that was treated with a slightly different style. And then we've got call out. So all these have been selected. Again, you can override those if you want to. It really depends on the article itself, which is why for some of these I've kept them open side by side so I can see what text goes where. But it did a pretty good job of putting this together. As I reviewed last week, all this chart information, since it was typed into InDesign, is coming through as well. You can decide to import those or not. Right now I just said yes, because maybe we'll figure out a way to display a chart like that with the actual text itself. And then finally we get to the bottom, and that's about it. So all of this now has been assigned to the right chunk and is ready to be imported. So I'm going to save all those chunks that I just did. When I'm ready, when I've done a few of them, when I've reviewed, the first two or three, I can select as many as you like here, and then come down to the bottom and say, import the selected articles. That's going to process all those chunks like I showed you, and turn that into an article itself. I've already done that for this one. So right now I can come over to articles and I'll see that Trend Watch 2014, that's the article that I processed this morning. Editing it here right now will not do much. This view is really about some of the metadata. So it's a generic article, it's been written in English, it's going to be available in English for people on the site. There's a part number, can be used in email, print, categories, countries. A lot of the metadata is here. The intention when we get a little bit further along is to make the editing of the content a much better experience. It's not going to be part of this, but we do have a fallback for now. If anyone wants to start looking at content and how that can be edited, under Evolve Versions, we'll get a version of that article as well. And this will give you all of the chunks that we just imported. And where appropriate, it'll give you a WYSIWYG editor for that text. So this is where extra chunks like email subject could be entered because there wasn't one in the article, one-liners, teasers, etc. So some of these you've seen, they've come in. The main content looks like one big chunk. We're actually going to clean that up a little bit further because line breaks should be honored. If you look at the code, there are line breaks here, but they just visually aren't being honored yet. But all that text now is in here, and when we've got that cleaned up a little bit further, you would be able to say technology is the second paragraph, so I've got a line break here, and then I've got a headline. Find a headline. So here's big data. I'll put a line break in, I'll select that, and I'll say this is going to be header 2, and start doing things like that. I want to clean that up a little bit more so that this isn't so onerous of a process and all those line breaks are there, and all you really need to do is confirm that the line breaks are where they should be and put in some styling for things like headline breaks, things like that, or bulleted lists. But that's all done with this little WYSIWYG bar. There's headline and paragraph styling and under the P symbol, and then that's a bulleted list, that's a numbered list, and then you can do some alignment as well. If we go down a little bit further, I believe we've got main media is the last chunk in this list, and I'll have to come back and show you how we're going to be able to insert the images into the main media field, but again, that's going to be holding an image or a video embed code from SCTV. But this is the view, this is kind of the raw view of all that data. What we're working on, that client view, is under Evolve, which is the name of our client admin. We're going to have the cleaner version of it that you've started to see some wireframes for here, where we can show you all the chunks in an order that makes a little bit more sense. We're going to be bringing in the same WYSIWYG editor here for the main content area, and then also bringing in all of that meta that currently lives in a different place into the same view, so that you can start to say, well, this is in IT management, and it's also in room control, let's say, and it's going to be available in the United States and Canada. And so this will continue to get cleaned up, but eventually this will be where you'll be doing most of the editing for the content itself, as well as some of the meta. Let me go back here. So again, I think what we'll be doing with you guys over the next couple days is concentrating on getting these legacy articles reviewed and imported. And then we do have the images that you've given us. They're ordered by, well, you gave it to us in quarters. What we're doing now is bringing them all into a folder for each article. The folder will have the part number of the article itself. So when you're going to be looking for the images in our system, on our server, you'll be able to sort by a folder which has the same part number as that article. So in a lot of cases it's just the one image, but that'll be a quick way to find that image for you, and then bring it in. In other cases where you have a main image and then maybe two sidebar images, all three will be in the folder there for you. And what you'll be doing is, I go to versions again, trend watch. What you'll do is you'll select which one belongs in the main media, which one is the lead image, and then as part of the content here, you'll be doing, let's see, that's a bulleted list. Oops. You'll say, well, right here is where I want to put an image, and you'll come up here and you'll say, insert this image here, and you'll be able to float it inside content, float it right, float it left, or put it at the top of a paragraph, kind of breaking the content, and add a caption to it, etc. So you'll be able to control how images look, or how certain little graphics appear inside content. But that's the general gist of what we've got ready for you guys to start to do and start to review. I'm recording this as well, so I'll be able to post this later for anyone's review who's not part of